Thank you, Commissioner Latham, Commissioner Littleton, Commissioner Heisey, Commissioner Clark, and Mr. Yankowski. On behalf of my board of directors, represented by Randy Rocha and Bob Hollinghorse, it's an honor to present you the results of the Colorado PTAC for the last program year. This is more than just results for me. It's also to provide a big thank you to the county. This has been an amazing ride for us. It was a catalyst, I think, for the rest of the program for El Paso County to take such a great leadership role. I'll walk through some slides. There's some things that I want to show you, and we go through it, and just to highlight a few things that I think would be of interest to the commissioners. So next slide. Or I guess I've got that, don't I? All right. This is what we're going to talk about. I've got a video. It's going to extend our briefing slightly, but I think it's important because the county put this on. In fact, Blake, who's sitting behind your camera there, did this for us. Great representation of the program. I use this throughout the state, and I've used it at the national level too. So with that, I think they have to switch over to allow the video to come up.
The Colorado Procurement and Technical Assistance Center, also known as PTAC, opened their doors at the El Paso County Citizen Service Center in 2014. PTAC is an organization set up by the federal government to help businesses do business with the government.
They were looking for more innovation, entrepreneurship, and competition when it comes to support federal government programs.
Government contracts are a great way for businesses to expand their portfolio.
However, doing business with the government can be a little arduous. So this program was established to set up to help businesses through that entire process, from the beginning of registrations and support all the way through government contract proposal and post-award support and actions to allow those businesses to experience the government as a part of their business operations.
Dottie Ann Spann has had a government contract for decades.
I'm the organist at Evans Army Hospital, Healer Chapel, at Fort Carson, Colorado. I have just closed my 59th year of playing there, and I am 4 months into my 60th year of playing.
Filling out the necessary paperwork for her position was not something Dottie could do on her own.
All I know, it's a program on the computer that has many pages. You have to go through many different areas of the program that have to be filled out, and it was quite difficult for me to have to do. And so Gary is able to do the entire program for me. He helps me and he fills out the program for me.
We do 4 things primarily. We counsel businesses individually, helping them understand the government process, helping them with the registrations, helping them with proposal support, all of the things they would need to really compete effectively for government contracts. We also train these businesses across a variety of government contracting topics, from government cost accounting requirements to the federal acquisition regulation. We also hold panels that support businesses across a variety of contract topics that involve government, prime contractor, subject matter expert panels that support the businesses understanding that. And the final thing we do is outreach. Outreach forums that allow those businesses to connect to the prime contractors and to the agencies and allow those business development opportunities to be more readily available.
Sarah Kinney is a defense contractor.
My business, RIM Technologies, is a service-disabled, veteran-owned, woman-owned small business. We're located right here in Colorado Springs. We actually have an innovative model for services for defense in software development, radar systems engineering, and communications and networking.
And PTAC helped her company land their first defense contract under Lockheed Martin.
The Procurement Technical Assistance Center has been really pivotal in RIM Technologies connecting with the small business specialists and the liaisons on each of the bases, helping us formulate our bid strategies, helping us make connections with large business partners.
PTAC has about 2,800 active clients in Colorado, and in 2013, PTAC clients were awarded prime contracts of over $460 million.
We support government contracting. That includes federal, state, and local government support, as well as subcontracting opportunities with prime contractors. We support them throughout the entire process. So it's not just the beginning and the registrations and those things that are very important, but throughout the process.
The funding for PTAC comes from the federal and state governments, as well as private donations.
And that's the beauty. All of our services are at no cost to the business client. It's on purpose as an economic development program, and no cost doesn't mean that it's not high quality. Our counselors are all retired federal or industry or a combination thereof, lots of experience, and actually have a heart to give back really want to make a difference, so we have a fantastic program.
And for folks like Dottie, PTAC has made all the difference in the world.
I just would have not had my job anymore because I couldn't have done the program. Just wouldn't have had my job anymore. So that's how I know that it was definitely an answer to the prayer, my prayer. PTAC saved me.
For more information on PTAC, please go to coloradoptac.org.
Thanks for indulging me on that. A couple reasons I wanted to show you that. Great support from the county. Blake, Joe Yates, Dave Rose, their team has been phenomenal for our support. And that's to a person throughout the county. Just as a kudos to everybody that we've worked with, just tremendous people, can do across the board. So that's just another example of that. I'll go through these fairly quickly because the video did kind of capture a lot of it. The program itself is a nationwide, 94 different programs. Some of them are regional, some of them are statewide. We are statewide, of course. And it was started 30 plus years ago to help businesses do business with the government. DoD saw that as an opportunity. We're not getting enough business participation, so they set this program up. Colorado did have one in the late 80s, early 80s. Actually, it was tied to the University of Colorado in Boulder, and because of different funding constraints, kind of just flittered away. So the founding fathers of this in 2008, 2009 saw that Colorado was missing opportunities from other states, losing business to other states that could do support for the federal government and had PTACs. So they stood this up. I was fortunate to be on the board of directors at the time, and then a couple of years later became the executive director, frankly, because it is a great program and it does allow myself and our counselors to give back again. It is altruistic in that case, and it really just makes you feel good. We are set up as a 501c3 nonprofit, public-private partnership, and really gives us the opportunity to take advantage of funding from a variety of sources and gives us the flexibility that some of the other programs across the nation don't have. I know that we're set up for success because of all of the other program managers across this nation have asked us how we've done it, how have we set ourselves up for success, and really it's the structure that was laid into place by not only the state government, but DoD and also at the county level. I would be remiss to say we did have a House Bill 141016 that did give us sustained funding from the state, but it was also because of the successes we were already experiencing that we were able to do that. So that was a great opportunity for our program. Who we are, our headquarters is here. It's Colorado Springs. It's where it was founded, and it's where most of our, as you'll see in the stats, most of our impact is. But we do have locations throughout the state: Aurora, Westminster, Golden, Fort Collins, Longmont, and we do touch the entire state, so it is a statewide program. As it said in the video, we help the entire process. We're very fortunate to have a set of counselors who have significant federal, industry, and local and state experience. And frankly, it's a great retirement gig, as I like to say. A lot of my counselors are finished their first career, are now doing it on the second side, and they can bring all their experience to businesses and kind of lower the veil of what government contracting is all about and help those companies along using their experiences. So not only do we help them through the process, we'll review proposals, we'll do all those things for them to really make them successful. In addition to our counselors, and this is the other part of the public-private partnership that makes us different, we have an extensive use of subject matter experts, and that's government cost accountants, that's contract lawyers, other providers of services that provide additional and pro bono hours for us. We can tap into that because of the in-kind side. So that allows us to be even stronger. So some of our counselors may know cost accounting, but they may not be an expert in cost accounting. So we'll bring those in as support to training and outreach and pro bono support. So it's a great way of making our program, although we have a small number of staff, that much stronger. Achievements. Well,
we
first
have
and foremost,
a quick question on that last slide.
Yeah, sure.
Commissioner Littleton.
Thanks. So just out of curiosity, is the government contracting consistent nationwide, or does it vary by state to state?
Well, federal contracting, by and large, is consistent. The
Right.
processes are consistent, but it does vary state to state.
And then even local,
Right,
county
and all
to
the
county?
270 municipalities, although the concepts are the same, the
Right.
processes may be different. So we'll deep dive if we advise a client if they're going to do business in El Paso County or Larimer County, how they understand what those expectations are for the procurement processes. So, we help them, again, understand what they're about to get into.
Do you guys ever keep a list, any of the employees statewide, of, especially specifically the federal government contracting on things that could be, just that are stupid rules, things that are onerous, and that could be reduced, mitigated, or eliminated?
The biggest challenge, I think the rules are going to be there, and they change sometimes. I think what I've noticed, and I can speak on the federal side, you've seen a change in the demographics of the federal contracting officers. We're having the bathtub effect. You've got a lot of people retiring. You've got a lot of new contractors, officers come in. So we often will get on the phone with that contracting officer to help them think through other ways of doing things, and if they've potentially put a clause in the contract that will overtly put out small businesses that they shouldn't have done. We'll actually talk them through that. And you have to do that in such a way where you're not coming down like you're getting on to them, so to speak, but helping them through the process, helping them learn. Some of those outreach events you see, I purposely have government, industry, small business, all in the same room. The panels that Blake often is videotaping that we broadcast, that's purposeful, having those stakeholders. Because everybody says communication is the answer to all the problems we have. Well, let's do it, and let's get these people across. And I think sometimes what I've seen, the government gets so busy and they get their blinders on, and I used to be one of them, so I can say that. They need to take a step back and understand what's going on the other side, and what's going on with industry, how that affects the small business or the large business. So I know I probably didn't answer your question directly. We do review those rules with them. I have sat in the city of Colorado Springs when they were doing some of their procurement review as well. So they're working that, and I think it's an opportunity for us to go on both sides of the fence because we can wear different hats.
Well, I just would encourage you, whether it's the city of Colorado Springs, El Paso County, the state of Colorado, or the federal government, just to kind of keep a running list of things that could be potentially rescinded, reduced, that are barriers to business that you see, because things that we don't know about, that were potentially unintended requirements. It would be very helpful for all of us to know what those are.
Absolutely. And just to caveat one more thing, we had the Small Business Administration Ombudsman here last year. We hosted them along with the SBDC at the Citizen Service Center. That was last September, I think it was. Mm-hmm. So that was an opportunity, exactly to your point, bringing those issues up, and he was bringing them back to DC, from a standpoint. So we'll continue to work those things. There's always changes that are always going on. We have to stay ahead of those. But absolutely, anything we can do to lower that barrier, that's what we want to do.
Great. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you. Anyway, the Citizen Service Center, what a great thing that is. Just putting people in the same room, in the same place, amazing things happen. So we've got great collaboration with the SBDC, the Workforce Center, Manufacturing Edge, other programs that are there. It's just a lot of fun, and actually a lot of great things get done just being in that same proximity. Outreach programs. Through the county, again, we're using the Pikes Peak Regional Development Center. We hold panels, as I mentioned on the video, and different topics that are really hard impacting, mentor protege programs, things of that nature, where we bring those different stakeholders and really great dialogue, and we broadcast that throughout the state. So that facility allows us to be that much more effective. Again, very small staff, but we're able to leverage that. So again, it's a facility and an opportunity that the county provided us. We got our DOD audit this year and first ever outstanding rating, first one she'd ever given, which was kind of fun. And also because of the relationship we had, she loved the building. She highlighted that in the report, that being in the same facility and having that great opportunity to do those things was a great, I think she put it as the benchmark that other PTACs should follow. APTAC, which is the Association of Procurement Technical Assistants, our national body, we are top 5 of 94 programs. And again, I say all these things not to brag. It's because of the support we've been given. It's the counselors we have. All the stars have aligned, and we're able to take advantage of that for the benefit of the businesses. We did get our DOD grant option year funded too, and we did an open office in Larimer County and Boulder County. So we're slightly growing. We're at that point now where I think every time I think we're not going to have any new clients, we get more and more, because there's always areas that people have not heard of the PTAC. My biggest challenge is continuing to explain what's a PTAC. And so that's what I do. The metrics for the state, and this I'm just going to benchmark against, you'll have the El Paso County metrics in a moment. 2833 active clients, those are true active clients. The counseling appointments, over 4,000, and so there's a lot of throughput going through. Outreach events, 200 or so, and I could go into detail on what all those outreach events are. Contract awards, $313 million, slightly down from last year because they stopped allowing us to report IDIQ, which is the indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts at the top level, only at the order level, and that's really hard to see from a metric standpoint. And the jobs created retained, that's just divided by the 50K, which I've been told is the Department of Labor statistic. El Paso County. So you see those numbers. By and large, El Paso County is our biggest target of impact, which is what it's supposed to be, I think. That's where it's grown, and that's where we have a lot of defense and federal support. Council appointments, 990. Outreach events, 100 even. Nearly 200 million in contract awards, and roughly 3,900 jobs created. All through the 10K that is provided by the county, and also the in-kind office support. So I hope that is a good return on your investment. From our perspective, it's a wonderful return on investment, and just and there's more to it than just those county numbers. It's, again, how this is helping the companies in general lower that barrier, and I think it's an economic development program that really is just getting its legs underneath it. We've already talked about a couple of success stories. The other one I'll bring up, Sterisil, we were able to help them win a government contract. There was just incorrect terms. They were not GSA was not looking at their pricing correctly for OCONUS overseas work. So we went back with them and had them work with the GSA contracting officer, and they were awarded that contract, and they also have CONUS work as well. That was just the highlight of that. And we have hundreds of success stories. And I'm not here to tell you that they win these contracts because of us, but I think we support them in that. I've had several clients that we've had that one was a Harvard Business School grad and a physician, and came up to me one day and said, thanks for everything you do. Won my first contract, couldn't have done it without you. And I said, really? You're a Harvard Business grad? She goes, I would have quit. She got so frustrated with the system. And it's just like changing your fuel pump in your car. If you don't know how to do it, it's hard. The government's not unlike that. If you know how to do it, it's hard. If you know how to do it and you have help, the barrier to entry is lowered significantly. I do speak a lot to the agencies because I want them to know how they can use us, because that is the true connection. They need what we have. They need capable small businesses that can do business with them. The prime contractors need that same thing across all those preference categories. So I spend a lot of time talking to Peterson Air Force Base or the Fed Center or whoever I can across the board to say, we can do this for you. And that's the area that I'm starting to see more growth. I mean, DOD is a lot of funding, but so is BLM. So is National Park Service. So you have all these federal agencies that we support and touch. I spoke at the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and they had a conference here. You think about that. So it's an opportunity for businesses to really get into this as a portfolio that maybe they hadn't considered before. And really, it's all about economic development. I think Colorado is a fantastic state. I think El Paso County is doing so many great things. We're just happy to play a part in that. And if it's an opportunity for these companies to get into something that they hadn't considered before and we can help, we're happy to do that and honored to do that. That's all I have. Subject to your questions.
Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of questions in terms of how do you do your outreach to companies who may have never thought about competing for a government contract but might be eligible to receive your services? And what's your connection with the Small Business Development Center and the Workforce Center? Do you work with them as well to make sure that there's outreach if there's a potential there? Right,
absolutely. And I think that was one of the benefits of being in the CSC is working alongside the SBDC. So now my network is also their network. Working with the Better Business Bureau, you've got the other networks there. Charlie Whalen at the Workforce Center, because we all kind of touch each other in various ways. So if we can expand that network, working with the Regional Business Alliance, I have a meeting with them right after this, to make sure those companies that may have not heard of us before, because that is our biggest challenge, is what's a PTAC? And then the next biggest challenge is it really doesn't cost you anything, we promise. So it's expanding that network, because we can't keep sending things to the same 2,800 clients. We have to expand, the net. So the best way to do that is collaborating in the partnerships. So that's how we've continued to expand that.
Well, and when I look at your, your list of sponsors, and then, as you said, the other counties that are working with the PTAC as well, and just a few: Jefferson, Larimer, Boulder, as well as El Paso County. Colorado Springs Utilities and others, I think it's really important that, that folks know about what you do, because it's, I mean, I've never competed for a government contract, but I can certainly imagine how difficult that would be as a business owner to figure out how to compete in that big world of all of the federal regulations that you deal with, either at the state or the federal level.
Correct.
So thanks for giving us an update. Really appreciate it. And I think, as you pointed out, having that co-location at the Citizen Service Center does help everyone, because they have sort of that face-to-face ability to just go from one place to another if there's a potential there, and sort of that one-stop shop. So thanks very much for the update.
Thank you. And thanks for the award last week. That was quite a surprise for being selected as the El Paso County Economic Project of the Year. So I appreciate that, and my folks appreciate that. We have great people, and we're very fortunate for that.
Well deserved, and the numbers show that. Commissioner Heisey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have competed for a government contract in the moving and storage business back in the day, and I remember my frustration in filling out that form, and it's moving and storage, you know, fairly well defined. This is not real complicated kind of stuff, and it was just, come on, really, guys? You know, I've already told you that. You know, however, what I really wanted to mention was that perhaps at our next CCI conference, if not summer, maybe winter, which was just completed, we had a potpourri session where everybody had about 10 minutes on a particular topic. That might be a good place to have you present something similar to this to spread the word to the other county commissioners. And if you could kind of focus on the other counties that you've already done work in and what those numbers might be, I think it might help your visibility.
Absolutely, and I'm going to do something similar with this with Boulder and Laramie County. But there's other counties that we have not touched as well, of course, and that'd be a wonderful opportunity.
Commissioner Littleton.
Thanks. Looking at one of the slides where you're talking about the revenue that, you know, was brought into specifically El Paso County and our participation in it, $10,000 it looks like, plus in-kind space. We know that probably the city of Colorado Springs benefits from that, and some of that business that is reflected in your numbers. Mm-hmm. Do they assist at all or partner with El Paso County in any way, shape, or form financially?
Well, the City of Colorado Springs does provide funding through the city utilities, so we do get funding through them as well. Okay. And actually, I've got a meeting with Jeff Green to talk about the more increased collaboration, talking with Andy McIntyre, who's the new procurement director at the city level, okay, on a supporting program. We're going to do an outreach event. We're targeting a construction kind of event, bringing in the same kind of things. We talked about different primes and agencies, construction oriented, in February. So that's my meeting with the RBA after this, then working with the city to bring those in. Obviously, I'll have El Paso County as a part of that as well, too. So working on those kinds of outreach events in collaboration with them. And I think it's coming along. That's exactly what we need to have. And again, El Paso County is kind of the benchmark, which is nice.
Well, and I meant if you could encourage them while you're meeting with them, you know, yeah, while we're putting up the 10K, if it could be split 3 ways between, you know, RBA or the city of Colorado Springs and El Paso County, that would be beneficial as well, because we know that they benefit from your work here. Absolutely. As well. And then also just going back to what Commissioner Heisey was referencing, just the replication and the duplication and the application process. Those are the things that I think we need to know about to be able to work on either in the county, at the state, or at the federal level on minimizing and reducing the painful paperwork process that certainly could be streamlined, one would think, right?
Right. And I did not mention it, but for instance, veteran businesses. We have been trained and certified by the VA to be veteran counselors for the CVE process, which is a requirement to do business with the VA, and it may open up to all the other federal agencies to ensure that there was no fraud in the service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. There was before. So although the process is arduous, now that we're trained, we can help them through that. And they are actually streamlining some of those processes. They just went through that. So in some ways, our feedback did help that. And we'll continue to do that.
Thanks.
Well, thank you. It's a great update, and I hope folks pay attention to this. The impact to our community is pretty extraordinary, and we're so grateful for the way this program is working. You are the standard.
Well, thank you, and again, it was an honor to present to you, and And if you need me to speak at any events or any, please let me know. That's what I do, so I enjoy that. Thank you very much. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.